Hi, my name is Jeff Pagano, and welcome to the Harpin Preview Show on our YouTube channel. Please don't be shy with the like and subscribe buttons. This week, my guest Hugo Gordon and I were unable to coordinate our schedules, so we've recorded our parts separately. To kick things off, I'll give you some details of our feature match of the week, which is, of course, Ireland v South Africa in round 4 of the Quilter Nations series. It's taking place at Aviva Stadium on Saturday, November 22nd, kicking off at 5:40 p.m. with TV coverage on RTE2 and TNT Sports 1. Both teams named their matchday squads on Thursday. If you're watching on YouTube, Ireland's 23 should be right there in the screen. Or if you're listening to the podcast, it's in the program notes. Now, obviously, usually I try to set things up by explaining a bit about the two teams and what's at stake and stuff. But basically, if you're watching this podcast, you know enough about Irish rugby to know how much this particular matchup means to both Ireland and South Africa. It's become a big rivalry over the years. So I know I don't have to set out, I don't have to remind you what happened at the last World Cup. Don't have to remind you the 2-match series we played down there last year, all that stuff. You know what's at stake. So I reckon I've left poor Hugo's face frozen down there for long enough. So it's time for him to offer his thoughts as he earns his 12th Harpin cap. Take it away, sir.
Thanks, Jeff. And yeah, really looking forward to this one. The Irish squad doesn't feature too many surprises. Andy Farrell mainly going for his tried and tested selections. The most notable call is Tom Farrell making it onto the bench ahead of Robbie Henshaw. Unclear whether Henshaw is carrying a knock or not, but great to see Tom Farrell getting a second cap given his excellent recent form. Paddy McCarthy also features on the bench again. His rise to apparently becoming second in the loosehead depth chart is probably one of the stories of the autumn for the Ireland camp. And then Sam Prendergast starts at 10 alongside Jameson Gibson Park. Farrell seemingly playing the hot hand after Sam's impressive showing against Australia last week. I thought that was the best game Prendergast has had in a long time for either Ireland or Leinster. Some of his passing and kicking out of hand really was excellent. We saw a lot of what he does best. Obviously his defensive weaknesses have been much discussed. We saw a couple of examples of that against the Wallabies as well. And you'll imagine that's an area that South Africa will target, but I still like the call. Hopefully we also get to see Jack Crowley then come on in the second half with that same high energy he brought off the bench last week. So two really good fly halves, and hopefully they'll both be able to bring what they do best. I think Andy Farrell's probably gone with the strongest team we had available. All told, we will need it. We played well last week. It was a morale booster after a disappointing autumn up until then. But South Africa will be a much, much sterner test. They're in brilliant form. The best team in the world right now. 2 weeks in a row they've won comfortably despite going down to 14 men early on. They've got power, obviously. They've got a famously terrifying scrum. I expect Damien Dialende in particular will be running down Sam's channel all game. And one big concern for Ireland last week was just how much damage Australia were able to do and close to our line. And South Africa will have been watching that very, very closely. But they've got brains as well as brawn. Rassie Erasmus is a really brilliant coach, whatever else you might say about him. And he has built this incredible Swiss Army knife of a team. Just so many ultra versatile players who can play in so many positions like Quagga Smith, Andre Esterhuizen, Damien Willemse. They're just so adaptable to kind of any situation. They've been so good in the final quarter of games as they've just kind of worn teams down. I do expect the likes of Willemse, who had a really excellent game last week, and Kanan Moody as well, in particular, will give our high ball more trouble than Australia did. That's an area where we profited a lot last week, and I don't think the Boks will make it so easy. On form, you'd have to predict a Springbok win. But even if we don't win, I'd take a competitive performance from Ireland that shows that we're building again. But also, I mean, the Ireland-South Africa games in the Farrell era have mostly been classics. So as much as anything else, I'm hoping we get to see another one.
Well, we definitely can't argue with that. Many thanks for that, Hugo, and I hope you have to back on again soon. Now, just a quick look at the officials. As you can see, it's an all-English team there with Matthew Carley holding the whistle this week at the Aviva Stadium. The weather for Dublin 4 is interesting. It's obviously it's gotten a lot colder this week. It's going to be 7 degrees in the evening time. There's going to be little or no wind, but usually on AccuWeather, which is where we get our weather forecast, they usually leave summarize what the weather's supposed to be in like 2 or 3 words. This week's word is just one word: rain. So they say 77% chance of rain. So it's going to be cold and wet. with no wind, I think is the way it's looking there. So wrap up and well, and cover yourself as well going to the Aviva Stadium if you're heading on to the match. Okay, so now to just a quick look at some of the other matches this weekend. Now, there's a lot of obvious big matches there. You know, Ireland, South Africa, I'd say is probably arguably the biggest game of the weekend. France, Australia should be interesting. Wales, New Zealand, well, that could be interesting to be like how much of a score the All Blacks rack up. Scotland v Tonga and England v Argentina on Sunday. But I'm interested in, of all those games, Georgia v Japan in particular. During the week, it was announced that the format of this new Nations Championship that the World Rugby are going to be holding for the next couple of seasons. Now, if you look back at our 80+ column during the week, I gave my thoughts. I've positives and negatives of the whole concept. But this particular game, now, a lot of people feel that maybe Georgia deserved a spot in that top tier, and they've been not only been denied that, but they've been denied the opportunity of winning promotion into the top tier for the first two iterations of this competition. They won't be able to have a hope of getting promotion until the 2030 competition. So straight away after they announced that new competition and new format and how Georgia had been excluded, they get a chance to play one of the teams that was let in to the top tier, namely Japan. So they have a chance immediately to show the world that maybe they could move up. So it's a real good opportunity for them. And I think that that's but that doesn't mean Japan's going to be a walkover either. So that makes it a fascinating contest. So we'll see how that turns out. But as you can see, a lot of interesting matches this weekend for sure. When it comes to Ireland against South Africa, Hugo's left his thoughts. I think we can win. We're definitely not favorites. South Africa, world champions. They're in fine form. We didn't beat New Zealand in Chicago. South Africa had that big win in Wellington. So I think they've definitely got the form and the momentum coming into the Aviva. And one thing is for sure, they will want to beat us for the way things happened in the past. But I do think Ireland will be prepared. I think we'll be ready. I think, we've had 3 matches so far to fix everything, the bits and pieces, the rustiness and all. There's no more excuses for being undercooked or any of that stuff. We're coming into this game. We should be ready. If we can get off to a good start, we definitely can do it. So it should be a fascinating contest. I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to predict an Ireland win because I always do. I always back my team. I really think we can do it. So we'll see if that pans out. Well, that's it for this week. Please be sure to comment, like, share, and subscribe as much as you can across all our socials. And when the full-time whistle blows at the Aviva Stadium, leave your thoughts on our Facebook page. We'll be doing our Wrap Pod recording on Sunday evening featuring Rugby Kino. Be reading a couple of those comments out. So do that, please. Enjoy the game. And in the meantime, stay safe, everyone. Slán.